Hello everyone, my name is Curtis. Today, just want to do a quick video talking about my overall thoughts on the season of Euphoria so far. This season has been really good so far. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm so glad I decided to watch this season because something that always held me back from watching Euphoria was the fact that they were supposed to be high school students, but they were doing grown shit. So they were having sex, they were doing drugs, they were showing nudity. I just thought it was weird that they were supposed to be high school students, but we actually saw this on screen. I just couldn't get into it. But the good thing about this season is that there's a 5 year time jump. So everybody has been aged up, everybody's grown. So I'm like, you know what? I feel comfortable watching this show, and I'm so glad that I did. In regards to storylines, this show does have a lot of storylines, which I feel like is great. I do not like when shows just kind of focus on one thing, so the fact that there are multiple storylines going on at once, I do definitely enjoy that. And so I do want to start out talking about the transportation of drugs. So when it comes to Rue, she's not in the best situation. So she's not sober, she's not with the person that she loves, but also she has found herself in a situation where she owes Lori money. So Lori's like, you know what, you were going to be my drug mule, you're going to take these drugs from the United States over to Mexico. And so when it comes to actually transporting the drugs, this threw me off. I was not expecting it. I was so shocked when I saw this. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So when it comes to Rue, she is not in the best situation. She is not sober. She's not with the person that she loves. And also she has found herself in a situation where she owes Lori some money. So Lori's like, you know what? You're going to be my drug mule. You're going to transport drugs from the United States over into Mexico. And so when it comes to actually transporting the drugs, this threw me off. I was so shocked. I did not think I would ever see something like this on screen. But when it comes to the drugs, they do kind of wrap it in some type of material, and then they have to put lubrication on that, and so that way they can actually swallow it. I was like, wow. When I first saw it, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what are these things inside of the bowl? Turned out to be drugs. Had to swallow it. It does make you have gas, and so when it comes to actually, of course, transporting the drugs to getting it out, you have to shut it out because, of course, they can't just cut your stomach open. You can't also just vomit it out. You got to shut it out. And I was like, man, that is crazy. I was just like, wow, did not expect to see that. One positive thing for Rue, if you can say it's a positive thing, was that she was requested to deliver some drugs to a person that they say was an asshole, right? And so she does take the drugs over, and when she gets there, she runs into a guy named Bishop. Bishop, he's very weird, very quiet, very mysterious. And so he doesn't really say much, so she does get out of the car. She tries to have a conversation with him. He's not trying to have it. So she's like, hey, can I use the bathroom? He was like, cool, just don't touch anything. So she goes into the bathroom. She ends up running into this lady who mentions this guy named Alamo. And then later on, she ends up going downstairs. They're actually having some type of party, some type of get together. So she does start partying with the ladies. And so Bishop, he does sees this, and then he's actually trying to take her out. But then Alamo actually stops him. Her and Alamo get to know each other. And long story short, when it comes to Alamo, he is a pimp, he's a drug dealer, he owns a bunch of strip clubs. And you all know when it comes to strip clubs, sometimes they facilitate drugs, there's prostitution. You all know how it goes. So when it comes to Rue, she says that she wants to work with Alamo. Alamo's like, I'm not really sure you work with Lori. She's just like, look, that is not something that I want to do. I'm kind of forced into it. Please save me. Please help me. So when it comes to Alamo, he likes her a little bit, but he's like, I'm not really sure because you work with Lori. Speaking of Lori, the drugs that they asked Rue to take over to Alamo, they were laced. It wasn't on purpose, it was on accident because when it comes to Faye, she was supposed to clean off the weight scale, but she did not. And so some of the fentanyl that was on the scale from a previous situation actually got into the drugs. And so when it comes to Alamo, he did have a couple of ladies over. Like I said, he's a pimp, he owns strip clubs, so he's always going to have some women over. And so one of the ladies, they ended up taking the drugs, and they actually ended up passing away because it was laced with the fentanyl. And so this actually causes issues between Alamo and Lori, and unfortunately, Rue was in the center of it because she was the one who delivered the drugs. Alamo is pissed, he is angry, he is upset. He's like, Rue, did you purposely bring those drugs over here to take out my people? She was like, no, all I did was deliver it. I had nothing to do with the actual drugs itself. I was just delivering it. He was like, let's just test some things out because something else I did not mention was that they were talking about religion a lot in the first episode. So it's like, you know what, you believe in God, let's see if God believes in you. And so he puts an apple on her head, takes out a gun. He's like, I'm going to shoot. If God believes in you, I will shoot the apple. If God does not believe in you, I'm going to shoot you. I know she was just like, Lord God, please believe in me. And so he does fire the gun. He does hit the apple. She's like, oh, thank God. And so we do see that she actually starts to work with Alamo. So she does end up working in the strip club. And she does end up meeting this lady named Angel. And something that's very important to note about Angel is that she's actually cool with the lady that passed away from the drugs. And so she does not know that she passed away. All she knows is that she has been calling, and the lady has not been answering, so she feels like she's missing. Alamo, of course, knows what's going on. And then when it comes to Rue, she knows as well because she actually helped clean up the evidence. And so people know what's happening, but they're not actually telling her. They're basically saying that she ran off with some guy, but she's like, I don't believe that. That can't be true. Something must have happened. As time goes along, Angel begins to become more nervous, more concerned, more frustrated, more angry, to the point that she's actually throwing shoes at management. Rue was like, you know what, maybe I can talk to her, maybe I can calm her down. Rue ends up walking into the room that she was in, and she actually throws a shoe at Rue. Rue was like, listen, we're not about to keep throwing shoes at each other. Let's just have a conversation. Angel was like, okay, fine. And she says, you know, when it comes to my friend, she's missing. Like, I've been calling her, she's not answering. Alamo claims that she ran up with some guy, but I know that's some bullshit. Rue is kind of hemming and hawing, but eventually she's like, you know what, when it comes to your friend, I have some bad news. She actually overdosed. So when it comes to Angel, she's like, wait, what? So of course she's frantic. She's all over the place. And so this actually causes Angel to spiral out of control. She starts doing drugs. She was actually one of the #1 people at the strip club. People always requested her, but now she's lackluster. She's passing out. She's drugged out. People are asking for refunds. She's definitely spiraling out of control. So Alamo was like, she needs to go to rehab. Angel did not want to go at first, but Rue was able to convince her, so she does take her to rehab. The people at the rehab, you can tell they do not give a fuck. It is what it is. And then also, it's important to note that when it comes to Alamo, he says that he has the rehabs on speed dial, so he is probably sending so many ladies over there. It is what it is with them. But something I do want to point out when it comes to this particular scene was that when Rue ended up leaving the rehab facility, there was somebody who was sitting in the car and they were watching her. So we didn't see who it was, but somebody's definitely watching her. Oh wow, I was just intending on talking about one storyline, but I ended up talking about a whole bunch. So since I did talk about all of those storylines all together, I do want to touch on one more storyline that I feel like is really important, and I feel like it's the deepest storyline of the season so far, and that's going to be with Cassie and Nate. So Cassie wants to be a social media influencer. She wants to have a lot of followers on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, but unfortunately, it's just not going as fast as she would like. She's taking some pretty risky photos, but it's just not doing enough to get her the following. She is taking these weird, cringy photos where she's dressed up like a dog, and it's just like, oh, this isn't it. It's kind of cringy. But she's like, you know what, this is not enough. I need to take some riskier photos, so I want to show my body. But, of course, this is going to cause issues when it comes to her fiance, Nate. And before I start talking about Nate, I do want to discuss this engagement really quickly. So one of the key reasons why she wants to take these riskier photos is because she wants to generate enough income so that way she can have the wedding that she wants. Specifically, she wants to have these flowers at her wedding. It is going to cost a lot of money. Nate, he's not really trying to spend the money. And so she is determined to get these flowers. So she's like, okay, if I take some riskier photos, if I do OnlyFans, if I, show my body, I will be able to afford the wedding that I want, the flowers that I want. And so when it comes to Nate, this causes some issues between them. Nate, on the other hand, he's trying to run a business. He did not realize how hard the business was going to be. And so he's having a tough time with that. And then also we see that he's making these side deals with people. He owes people some money. And so there's a guy that he owes, and this guy, he has the same type of map that Lori has. So Lori's like, okay, if you add this, you multiply that. Well, it went from being this low amount to now this high amount. And so he finds himself in a situation where he owes people money. And when it comes to owing this person money, this person is just added on this amount, that amount. He has to pay this person this amount at this time, then pay an additional amount. So Nate is stressed, so he's not really trying to hear anything about his fiance taking off her clothes and taking pictures and showing it to everybody. But she does end up taking some riskier photos because he does say, you know what, when it comes to the photos, you can't take them. Just make sure that your face is not in it so nobody will see you, because I feel like it will cause issues when it comes to making deals. Now, when it comes to the photos, in my opinion, Cassie, she just took it too far. So remember, he said, if you want to take the photos, fine, it will generate income. Just please make sure if you are naked that your face is not showing. She clearly did not listen to him because she's in the photos. You can see her face, you can see her body, and she's taking some crazy, weird, out of this world photos. So she actually took photos where she has a pacifier in her mouth and she's spreading her legs. And she said that she had planned to take more photos wearing a diaper. And she said the reason why she wanted to take the photos wearing a diaper is because there's like this subculture of people who enjoy that. And I was like, yeah, they're called pedophiles. They're called perverts. What are you talking about? Why would you, as a grown woman, want to have a pacifier in your mouth, have a diaper on with your legs spread? I was like, okay, Cassie, you're doing too much. The two of them end up having a gathering or a little get together. They invite some people over, and Cassie decides that she wants to show people some of her photos. And so she does end up showing this lady some photos. And so some of the initial photos, she was like, okay, I mean, this is cool. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but I mean, I guess. But then when it gets to the photos with her with the pacifier like express, she's like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, I mean, that's what the people want to see. She's like, there's a subculture. And so this lady ends up telling somebody else, and then this person ends up telling Nate. And so Nate, of course, he did not know that she was on the internet spreading her legs with a pacifier in her mouth. So he tells her, look, you need to stop taking these photos. In fact, when it comes to that account, delete that shit, delete the photos, do not want to see it. And she says, I'm not going to delete it because I want to have certain flowers at my wedding. You can't afford it. You are broke. So therefore, I got to do what the fuck I got to do. So he's like, listen, I will get you all of the flowers you want, get you the wedding that you want. Just delete the account. So she does end up deleting the account. And something that is very important to know, since we are talking about people trying to be social media influencers and OnlyFans, we can actually shift over to Maddie because Maddie is doing something similar. So she's not actually in front of the camera getting pictures taken. She's actually helping manage somebody and taking photos for this person. So the person's name is Caitlin. And so when it comes to Caitlin, she starts out taking like some general photos. So I mean, you can see some of her body, but she's covered up in the places that she needs to be covered up. And so as time goes along, she does convince this woman like, hey, if you really want to get on top, if you really want to make it in this business, you may have to show a little bit more. Like you may not have to be naked, but you need to give the illusion that you're going to be naked. Like, so that way people will be willing to pay for it. And so when it comes to this particular person, they do end up making a splash. But the problem is that when it comes to Maddie, she ends up hooking this girl up with somebody that she actually worked with. Well, let me take that back. So there's a client that works for the business that she works for. She ends up hooking them up. This causes issues because the blogs actually take a photo. And so when it comes to her boss, she's like, hey, you can't do both of these situations. You can't be hooking up our star actor with a porn star. And so when it comes to Maddie, she ends up dropping the lady, but the lady ends up becoming super successful, makes almost $1 million. And so, of course, Maddie, she regrets losing out on her. And so when it comes to Cassie, she actually ends up reaching out to Maddie like, hey, I would like for you to help me the same way you helped Caitlin. The two of them end up meeting up. And so when it comes to Cassie, the way that she frames it at the beginning is as if she's trying to get her friendship back with Maddie. But deep down inside, she really just wants her to help her when it comes to being a social media influencer and possibly, when it comes to OnlyFans, right? And so she also wants to let her know, of course, that she is engaged. So she's like, when it comes to me and Nate, we're actually engaged. She wanted to make sure she saw that ring, right? And so when it comes to Maddie, you can tell she was taken aback. She was like, oh shit. And so we can see that she may be plotting, maybe scheming. If she is plotting and scheming, we're going to see it in the next episode because when it comes to Cassie, she actually invited Maddie to her wedding and Maddie said yes. Now, I do want to go back and talk about Lori and Alamo for a second. So when it comes to Alamo, he does reach out to Lori like, hey, those drugs that you gave me, they were laced, they have fentanyl. I feel like there needs to be some type of compensation. Lori's like, listen, I'm not giving you shit. It wasn't our fault. It was an accident. Like, we did not lace the drugs. There wasn't any ill intention behind it. It just happened. Alamo is not trying to hear it because he's like, listen, one of my girls died. Like, this isn't a situation where somebody on the streets died. One of my ladies died. Like, you have to compensate me for this. And so during this conversation, Alamo is called the N-word, and he's also called a pig. Now, when it comes to the N-word, he's a little upset about that, but he's really upset about that pig word because he's like, wait a minute. Pigs eat their own shit. I don't eat my own shit. Like, that pig comment, that shit pissed him off. So later on in the second episode, and side note, before I get into that, let me just mention something really, really quickly. So in the first episode, Rue was sitting down with Faye, her cousin, and her cousin's son, right? And so Rue was saying, I'm not really sure, but something tells me that there may be some type of incest going on when it comes to Faye's family. And so we actually saw in the second episode that that is actually true. So we saw that Faye and her cousin were actually fucking. I was like, that is absolutely crazy. Like I said, I did not expect to see that. That was one downside of this show. I was like, I wasn't really feeling that at all. So that did kind of take some points away. Still enjoyed the show overall, but that was just like weird. But the reason why I bring that up is because while they were doing what they were doing, we heard a bunch of ruckus upstairs. So it turned out that Alamo sent some people over to the place where they were doing the drugs. And so they actually had a pig, or I guess you could say a hog, with them. And so they broke into the house, put the hog inside the house. The hog was walking around the living room, taking a big shit inside the living room. And so the hog actually had a note on it. And of course, the note was from Alamo, and he was discussing that pig comment because, like I said, that comment pissed him off. Like, he said, you can call me an N-word, but when it comes to a pig, that is not what I am. And so that really pissed him off, so he decided to send one over to her to send a message. The last storyline I want to talk about, since I am talking about basically all of the stories, is when it comes to Rue and Jules. So earlier I said that Rue, she was kind of going through it a little bit. You know, she's not with the love of her life, and then also she hasn't been sober. And then we see that she's actually having some communication issues with her mother. And so when it comes to her mom, she can't really deal with that situation right here, right now. But when it comes to Jules, that is something that she can kind of handle. So the two of them end up meeting up, they catch up, and we find out that Jules is currently in a relationship with a man who is married to another woman. And it becomes quite clear that she is with this guy because he's able to give her a lifestyle that she probably won't be able to afford on her own. The two of them continue to catch up, and then Jules says, Rue, you look like you can use a bath. I was like, well, damn, that's kind of fucked up. Rue was like, oh, shit, my bad. Okay, let me just get ready to go. She was like, Rue, I'm saying that you need to take a bath with me. So it becomes quite clear that they did hook up, they did fuck. Hopefully this is something that will last throughout the season, but you know when it comes to these type of shows, they will be good 1 minute and then they'll be bad another minute. So I won't be surprised if it doesn't work out. And that's everything I have for you all. I promise I was trying to make a quick, short video just talking about my overall thoughts. I did not plan to actually talk about all of the storylines, but you know what? We're here now. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would be great. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.